on. Okay, great. All right, if y'all are just joining us, this is the recording of the Word Weavers April 11th general meeting, part 2. And Heather just had a great insight, which she's going to share with everyone. Go ahead.
So Julie, if you actually, it might be easier for us to see it if you go ahead and share your screen. If you go ahead and share the screen that you've got.
Sure, I'll share the screen. I apologize. Yep, go ahead.
All right, so at the very top of my screen, I've got a little green bar that says you're viewing Kim Clark's screen, and then I have view options. If I click on that view options box, that little downward arrow, I can go down to the side-by-side mode, and I can click on side-by-side mode. And then once I have done that, right beside, on the very right-hand side of your screen, there's these two little bars that if I hover over them, I can then drag, I'm doing it right now, I can drag it over towards the left, and then now your screen is a little on one side and all the people are over on the other side. So
where is this bar?
Are you talking about the tabs at the top, or it's not really, the bar to drag over is just really two little tiny lines.
Where are the lines, Heather?
If you mouse over to the top of the pictures,
they're to the very right of Kim's screen. You'll see the people on one side, and then to the very right-hand side, you'll see two little tiny white lines. But if you
can you point out the tiny white lines, please?
Because we're not finding them.
Okay, so where you see, I'm going to try to explain this because everyone has.
They're about halfway down. If you see where Kim is,
Oh,
you see the picture of Kim?
Here.
They're right on the side of Kim.
Oh, got it.
Got it.
See them right there?
Oh.
A little ways down, right at the edge.
Yeah, halfway down, about halfway down the page. It's directly in the middle of where the picture comes up with the person who's speaking.
So in each.
They're vertical lines.
It may not work for others.
Mm-hmm. Great. So everyone has a different platform, a different screen, but usually if you go where the boxes are, it's either a gallery view. Gallery is a grid view. There's also thumbnail view, active speaker video, and then you can just hide the thumbnail video altogether. Depending on which system you have, each one has a different one. But if you move your cursor to the top of where you see the little picture of me speaking or someone else speaking, that it should, yep, finally found it. Yay. So there's a lot of different ways you can play around with this and actually have a lot of fun with this if you want. All right.
Don't forget to mute yourself, please, unless you're speaking.
Right. So let everyone mute themselves, please. And you're going to go down to the bottom or the top fun little cursor. You'll see or even in your little square, your picture, and click mute or unmute if you want to speak.
Are you going to go over this slide again before we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay.
No. Yes. Okay. So critique group due dates. Woohoo. So this is just to make it really clear. You all will have hard copies of these slides on PDF. And Dina is going to be sending those out. And Dina, I'm going to update this slide deck with this slide, which I just added today. So give me, before you email that out when we're done, I wanted to send you this new deck. So these are the critique group due dates by April 15th. You need to email your piece that needs to be critiqued to Will. And this is his email. We'll put that in. Yeah, there he is. Yay. So you're going to email him. Hopefully everyone can see his email, but it will be in the email with a slide deck. So you'll get his email as well. You want to email Will with your piece or saying, hey, I don't have a piece, but I want to join a critique group. Either way, you're going to email Will. If you do not want to be in a critique group and you do not have a piece, don't email Will. Actually, you can. You can just tell him how great he is, how wonderful he did on worship. You can just give him some encouragement. It's always good for everyone to get encouragement. But April 15th, that is when you email Will, again, if you want to be critiqued or if you just want to be in a critique group. Then by April 18th, will be emailing one email to all the critique group leaders with their list of members in their group and their genre and the word count and their email addresses. The leaders will then email the group members saying, okay, look, here are 3 date suggestions for a Zoom meeting. what works best. So please check your emails for emails from a group leader which have not been assigned yet. And after the 18th. So leaders, I'm going to ask you, once you get that email, to please quickly turn that around and email your group saying, okay, here's some 3 dates that would work well. Maybe one during the day during the week, one in the evening during the week, and one on the weekend. So dates and times, and you all just can, your group, which would be about 2 or 3 people, so it shouldn't be a big group. And my goal or my ask for you all is to meet virtually via Zoom by our next meeting, which is the 9th. So between that time, you will have a Zoom meeting. I'll talk a little bit about that. Are we okay on these due dates? Thumbs up? Good, good, okay, moving on. Okay, great. Authors, same thing as a live critique group. Make sure your piece has your name, email address, word count, and genre on it, on the actual piece you submit to Will, and also in the email text to Will. He has your name, because sometimes your email is beloved by God, John 3:16, and he doesn't remember who that is, although he's brilliant. Give them your name. Make sure that's also on your piece, on your Word document. You should submit this in either a Word document or a PDF. Word document, we'll talk about that, and you can then use track changes, or a PDF, and your leader will pull that up on the screen when they're actually doing the critique group. Again, email your piece to Will. There's his email address. By April 15th, he'll email the leaders by the 15th, meet via Zoom by the 9th. During your critique group, your virtual critique group on Zoom, each authors will give a 20-second overview about the piece and the intended audience. Remember, submit nothing that goes against the WordWeavers International Statement of Faith and Values, or that would be considered unpublishable by the CBA is allowed. Please keep them clean. Do not explain or justify what's being critiqued unless directed by a clarified question. We all understand that. That's kind of fun. And I'm getting a, I apologize, I'm getting a, see if I can't find the, I apologize,
I can address the issue, Kim, and it's a great question, John. John wants to know, well, then who's doing the track changes? Okay, so let's say I submit a piece to John's critique group, okay, and there's 4 people in John's critique group. All right, I'm going to email that. They're all going to print it out, and on the day of our Zoom meeting, they're all going to put fresh eyes on it for the very first time, and they're going to read it. If they want, in a normal meeting, everyone writes their comments, right? They write those things that they think you should change. They insert those commas. They cross through lines. That's what they do. And sometimes, or I think most of us, as we're receiving that critique, we're making similar marks on our own copy of it. What you can do is you can continue to do that. You can continue to make those same marks on your own manuscript, or you can just wait for them to return their copy of your manuscript to you. They're going to do that in a few ways, and Kim will go into those ways, but one of those ways can be through track changes. So that's where the track changes comes in. And if you don't know how to use it, go to the Facebook page. We have 2 tutorials up there for you on how to use track changes. John, really good question.
Great question, John. Thank you very much. I apologize. My Zoom was actually converting the previous meeting into a recording, and I couldn't get to the chat. So thank you, Taryn. If that happens again, please someone jump in. So critiquers, and again, email Will by April 15th. April 15th, email to Will. Hope you guys get the 15th down. So we don't have a tax day. We do have a deadline for critique. Or if you want to be a critiquer as opposed to have something to critique. It's been suggested that we print out all pieces to be critiqued, just like a normal meeting, before your Zoom meeting. Yes, exactly. So if you're getting it via a PDF, some people do not have Word, which is why I suggested doing it as a PDF, because you can have all kind of crazy word processing packages. And I really wanted to keep it to Word or a PDF. PDF, you'll have to print it out, and we'll talk about ways to get those edits back to the person who's the author. Obviously, if you're critiquing someone's work, remember the sandwich method: encouragement, constructive criticism, encouragement. Mark and edit the piece. Mark it as the piece is being read. Same thing with that cold read. The same thing. That would be. We're going to just continue that. You can do snail mail as well. We'll talk about other ways to do that. Don't spend a lot of time on specific things like commas. These the authors can read at home after you're done. You again have the same 5 minutes for everyone to look over the piece and 3 minutes per critique. So if you're spending a lot of times on commas or things like that you're verbally doing, that you're not going to have time for your full critique. Don't repeat a critique if someone else in your group has given the similar critique. Don't repeat it. And remember, writing, especially during COVID-19, this quarantine time, can be a very isolating process or isolative process. It's our job to come alongside each author by being honest with love. Critique, edit, suggestions back to the author. We've already kind of talked about this a little bit. Leader's discretion. This is your leaders. You can do, if you're a leader, if you have a group of very technical savvy individuals or participants, you can use track changes. Taryn did a wonderful video tutorial on how to use track changes. And you should, if you're a writer, you should listen to that video anyway, because it's amazing. The first time I submitted my manuscript to an editor, I had no idea what came back to me with track changes. This is great practice. This is a great season of stretching for all of us. This is great practice for you to know track changes anyway. So I highly recommended you viewing Taryn's amazing tutorial on how to use track changes. You can email them with track changes back to the author, because you'll have everyone's email. Will be emailing the leader. Leaders, do not blind copy your entire group, but carbon copy your entire groups, or just make it to your entire group so everyone can see each other's emails. Lastly, if you do not have track changes, you do not have a printer, you can use this handy little device called a cell phone or a scanner, and you can take pictures of your edits on your page and then attach that to an email document and send that to the author. Please take pictures that the whole page is included and not just a portion, or it's so far away that no one can tell what your edits are. So try to fill your whole screen with the image of the picture. Email your edits back to your author. And we were trying to do this. We were thinking of, Taryn, if you want to unmute and talk about why we're not doing this via email, that would be great now.
Yeah, I know, and we've gotten some questions. They're really, really good questions, and some of them are along the lines of, well, why can't I just email my manuscript out, let people read it, do track changes, and email it back to me? And there's a few reasons that we're not kind of accepting that as a WordWeaver policy. Even with the online groups, they don't do that. We are actually modeling this after how all of the pages, which are the online groups, work, and they've been working successfully for years. The first reason is having that verbal out loud story read out loud is very helpful. You're going to catch mistakes. Your ear will catch mistakes that your eyes have missed, and so that's very helpful. Number two, in the past, there were some complaints, honestly, where people say, I spent 20, 30 minutes critiquing this person's piece, and I really, put a lot of work into it. And then I got my piece back, and all they said was, good job, and, I like this sentence. And there wasn't an equal reciprocity when it came to the workload. So those are a couple of the reasons why we don't do that. Again, the verbal critique, that cold read is very important, and just making sure that everyone gets an equal amount of critique time done to their piece. Did that answer all of your questions, Kim?
I think so. I think so. Any more, keep typing them in. When I'm on share screen, I can't get to the chats easily. That's why you see me breaking up. So Taryn, I'm going to let you answer the questions and chime in at any time with Excellent. The chat.
Okay. Oh, and on that, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, just because there is something streaming. as we're speaking, when it comes to getting those suggestions back to people, Heather made the suggestion of using an app like Scannable, and Scannable is a marvelous app. It's free to download, and it takes any picture of a document and it turns it into a PDF, and it cleans it up real nice. And then you can email that PDF with all of your changes, all of your written remarks back to the original author. That's another way that you can get comments back to them.
Great, great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're going to email these edits back to the author, however your group leader determines. Again, if you have a group that's, there's no problem with track changes, by all means use track changes. If you guys are, and let's say taking a picture of the documents that your edits is too much, then you're just going to have to spend extra time and jump back on. Your critique will take longer than the 40 minutes. If you want to do just verbal critique on Zoom, that's fine. We want to make this as easy as possible for your group and for you, and also to reflect as much as we can doing this live. That's the whole goal. You need to have your group meetings by the 9th, which is our next meeting. We're taking WordWeavers month to month. So our next meeting we're looking at will probably be on Zoom. That's what we're sensing. If it changes, we'll let you know, but that's what we're looking at. So by our next Zoom or by our next WordWeavers meeting, you definitely want to have met. I'm going to go over the last 20 minutes. I'm going to go over some pandemic survival and marketing tips. But before I do, any other questions on Zoom critique groups? You can type them in. Great, let's see. Okay. Yes. Tina asked, can we just type it in? Actually, it's $15 for unlimited Zoom if you want to do that. Better Control, if you want to do that with Jim mentioned that, that's fine too. Unfortunately, we don't have that membership, but if you want to keep it free, I'm all for that. Contact person would be, you can email or text me. I'm going to type in my text number. You can text me or Taryn if you have issues or questions. Anyone else want to be offered tech support? You can type in your number and you can text them. If you're kind of in the middle of it going, I don't know what to do here. Just that might be the best. Taryn is amazing as well. She entered her number in. So we can be your tech support for Zoom. Again, you know what? This is the time, COVID-19, of extending a lot of grace. So extend a lot of grace, and our job is just to come alongside of each other. I just want to have that as our caveat as we just move forward with these online Zoom critique groups. Okay, I do have a little over, about 20 minutes left, so I want to get on to the next section. I don't want to be cut off again. Any other questions you can type in, and Taryn, I'm going to let you answer those as they come in. Oh, there are more coming.
I got him.
Good. Okay, great. Great. Okay. So here's some really fun. I wanted to put in some, oh goodness, just some survival tips during quarantine. I've worked from home being an extrovert for now 30 years, which is kind of crazy. Survival tips for working at home. This is survival tips from an extrovert. You want to laugh often. This is a crazy time, and this is the time we'll look back on. Remember when we were quarantined in 2020? I would suggest daily laughing. I can't tell you it's a merry heart does the body good. It is so important. So just as general, watch funny videos, movies, etc. Look for joy in just crazy places. Whatever you focus on gets bigger. As most of you know, I have a ministry called Lift Your Gaze into correctional facilities. So I go into jails and to prisons, and you talk about people who need lifting your gazes. They would trade our quarantine for their quarantine anytime. So it's obvious there's someone obviously worse off than you. So focus on the good in your life, laugh often. It's really important to have a set daily schedule in just life. Many of you figured this out. We've been doing this for a few weeks, but wake up, go to sleep at the same time. Block off time to write. This is really important. I believe that this is the time we're called from fasting, from social interaction to write and seek God. So give yourself, maybe it's just a half an hour, or maybe it's an hour, whatever you have from this time to this time, I'm writing. Also, what's really important during this time is exercise. Exercise produces endorphins, which is what we need to stay sane. And also, ultraviolet rays kills COVID-19. Yes. So go for a walk, bike ride, run, whatever works. Go outside. It just cleanses, and I've seen that's when God speaks to me the most. Also, something fun to do, just something fun and creative each day. Maybe even making the family meal is fun. If you have kids, we do backwards day every once in a while. We have breakfast for dinner, and we turn the chairs around, and we wear our clothes backwards. We do backwards. We do try to do crazy things. Do crazy things. Try to make this fun again. Whatever you focus on gets bigger. It's huge, and to lift our gaze. I think we all need that as a sanity check. And really, this is the last thing, but I think the most important thing, pray how God could use you during this time, during such a season as this. So pray on how God can use you during this time. That's really just huge on really seeking God. I believe this can be a neat time, and I believe for us at Word Weavers Orlando, this could be the most amazing time, most prolific time, again, of producing Christian works, which is our goal by doing these Zoom meetings, is to help you, assist you to come alongside to do that. Here's some ideas. I've called this pandemic marketing. I am a former or recovering, or actually a former marketing professor. I have an MBA in marketing from Johns Hopkins, and I have been in marketing for a long time. But this is new. This is a whole new season, y'all. There's no textbooks on this. There's nothing out there on this. So we are in uncharted waters, and that's the time that we do what we do best as Christians. We pray. Pray how God can use you to get your current message out, whatever that is. And one thing I would suggest you do is provide value first, then sell. Don't worry about selling your books. Provide value. I've just come out with a 30-day devotional, and I'm recording, many of you seen these videos on a reading of my daily devotional. And I want to provide value first. And if I sell books, great. I would love to sell more books, but realistically, God had me do this writing project to provide value, to disseminate his information, his message. As Dina hit today, our stories are verbal acts of hospitality, which is wonderful. Maybe for you, God has impressed upon a new writing project or a new project. He has you a new worship song, a new poem, a new whatever. Do that. Move forward with that. And it is hard. This is going to require a depth of fortitude that is new and different, but I believe God does not equip the called. God does not call the equipped. He equips the called. And that's what this season is. He's equipping us to share his message. I believe we should serve others with our knowledge. Forgive me for the typos in this. I did not look it over as clearly as I wanted to. And those of you who are gifted in editing, I'm sure are cringing. So I apologize any typos you see. But serve others with your knowledge of what God's just imparted upon you. Maybe you want to offer a free Kindle book or a free ebook or a 99-cent book. You can do that through your email distribution list. You can do that through Kindle. There's a lot of creative ways you can just kind of say, hey, look, let's all come together. In a way to come together, I am offering 99 cents, my ebook, and you can actually email out your PDF to people who spend the 99 cents. Oh, or however price point you want. Maybe it's $1.99, maybe it's $5, whatever you want, you can get that out. Maybe God's impressing upon you to start a YouTube channel. Crazy stuff. One thing I would suggest you do, I talked a little bit about earlier, promote another author once a week. Maybe it's once a day, maybe it's once a month, but share a link, a success story for another author. We need to come alongside each other and build each other up, especially during this time. And if we're sharing on social media, which is our area of social interaction, let's do that for the glory and for the kingdom. You can sell or inscribe your books or ship books through social media. You can do that as well. Hey, I'm having a special buy one, get one free, 2 for 10. There's all kind of creative things you can do on social media. There's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's Instagram, there's all kinds of platforms out there. And you know what? You can just try it and just kind of get out there. Maybe like Taryn has done this. This is great. I'm doing this for each devotional, but maybe you want to record a reading of the first chapter or portions of your book and post that out. There's a way to provide value to your fan base or your platform.
Can I cut in for just a minute on that, Kim?
Go ahead.
Make sure if you are traditionally published that you check with your publisher's guidelines before posting a first chapter or something online, because most of them, in fact, I think pretty much all of them right now have said, yes, by all means, read the first chapter, post it on YouTube. Some of them, I know, like with Sleeping Bear Press, they said, yes, you can read, because it's a picture book, so you're reading the whole thing. They'd say, yes, you can read it, but all videos have to be removed by June 30th. And so some publishers have deadlines as to when a video needs to be removed, and you want to make sure you are abiding by those guidelines. Sleeping Bear said that when we were reading our books, we had to state in our video that we had permission from Sleeping Bear and Cherry Lake Publishing to be producing this video. So check with your publisher to make sure that you're following their guidelines and you are adhering to any deadlines that they have.
Absolutely. And also, I would address that in your video. This is available until June 30th. Put that in the text of your social media post as well. So just a little note, if you record it on your phone or on your device and then you upload it to YouTube, you can then share it on a multitude of platforms. If you do Facebook Live, it's only on Facebook and you cannot share it to other platforms via Instagram or your website or whatever. I suggest when I tell people they're doing a video, record it on your device, whatever that is, then upload it to YouTube. You can then share that link everywhere, including embedding it on your website. Again, you have to ask if you are traditionally published, you need to clear this with your publisher. So, but just a little tidbit on that. So I would record it yourself and then upload it to YouTube. For a YouTube channel, to start your own YouTube channel, you just need a Gmail account. And that you can actually, they're linked. It's really kind of lovely. And you could post your videos then on YouTube, Facebook, or do a Facebook Live. IGTV is Instagram TV, which has videos longer than 1 minute. So those are just some creative ways I have just actually thought of. You can market during such a time as this, market your current work. Again, your goal is to provide value and then pray how God wants, okay, God, you've given me this, which I've already produced. Help me disseminate that and share it to help people. And now what do you have me do next? And kind of balance your time with what you're doing now. And I would encourage you to schedule your days. That keeps you sane, and don't go too crazy on one area or the next. A lot of people have gone into cleaning and organizing, which is wonderful, but then you can do that to excess. Or if you do too much writing, your family can be neglected. So you want to have some balance. And I want to just thank you. I see there's questions popping up. I'm going to get to some of those if Taryn hasn't hit on them. But you all are the very backbone of disseminating God's words into a broken society. And I just want to encourage you all that you're doing a great work. I am grateful for your flexibility, for your teachability, and because we're charting into unknown territory now. And you guys are rocking it, even being on here or watching this video. So we do have 10 more minutes left. Are there any more questions that we have?
You suggested that we put things on YouTube via a Google account. If we already have a Google account that we use anyway, would you advise using that, or would you advise getting a separate one for doing these other things?
I just remember that whatever notices you get from YouTube will be going to that Google account. I have actually several different businesses. So I have a Google account for one business. I have a Google account for my author, and I have a personal Google account. All of my author videos are on my author Google account. And if I do anything for my other business, that is on my a separate account. So it's really up to you. Just note that and if people want to email you or find out more, they're going to be linking to that Google account. So just know that that's just linking what's been watched, what you've seen, what you encourage others to watch on that account.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I see a lot have been popping up. Hopefully you guys are all on it. Awesome.
Yeah, and they're mostly suggestions, and we've had some great suggestions.
Great.
Deborah mentioned that, don't forget, if you want to write, you can write for someone who has a blog. And that's something that can contribute. Tina's got, Tina, you want to pop in, Tina Yeager, and explain what you've done?
Yeah, instead of reading my book online, because I have a traditionally published book, I created my own introduction videos, one for each chapter of my book. I'm not reading the content, but I'm introducing them to the concepts in the chapter. That way you're not violating any copyrights. Yeah. All of you can do this if you have a traditionally published book, and you can have these on your website. You can have them as part of what I'm doing is a Facebook group where I'm inviting people to come in and do a study every week. And they can pop in and out, and you're offering value to people, whether they have money or not. People need to hear what you have to say. So you can offer something encouraging without violating your copyright, and people who need to access it can do so for free if they need to right now.
Yeah, that's great. You can also do, now that you have a free Zoom account, because you all have that, you can actually do a book study on your book on Zoom, and actually create a Facebook group for people who want to do a book study. So you can do book studies and read a chapter a week, just like you would a normal book study, and just consider Zoom as your meeting place.
Yes, and Zoom, you can do your own personal meeting for just you and record that, and that can be your chapter video for your book. So you can make your videos on Zoom as well now that you're online.
And that's how I have done mine. Is I've recorded I just have a meeting with myself and I record my meeting, and then I load that into a video editing program and just tidy it up. And like I've said on my stuff, I'm not going to win any Academy Awards for editing or video production, but at least they're up there, which is nice.
Awesome. Great. We have 6 minutes left. I just want to keep us all on time. So any other questions that you'd like to add or share with the group, any other ideas, please feel free to do the remaining 6 minutes.
I have a question. You're saying that we each now have a Zoom account. Do we use the same meeting information that we've been using for, like, if we're going to hold our own meeting?
You can. This Zoom account that you logged in with, you can create your own meeting. And if you go to your account, wherever you logged in, your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, you can schedule a meeting, and you'll actually get a link that you can email, post on social media. I suggest you email it, or email it to a private group, because it does have the meeting ID, and you want to just be careful of that you're not getting all kind of crazy people into your meeting.
Okay, so we basically have to set up our own. We basically have to set up our own meeting numbers and passwords still.
Yep, you're going to go to zoom.us, and then as you logged in just to do this, and you can schedule a meeting. I apologize for the background noise here, but go right ahead. Someone else want to ask?
It will give you your own.
I was just going to say, attending a meeting, you don't necessarily have to have an account. So just because you're at this meeting now doesn't necessarily mean that you have an account, but to host one, you do have to make an account, but accounts are free. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're right, Anna. You're absolutely right. Okay, great. No problem. So it looks like we're losing people. We have 4 more minutes. Any other questions or comments? Did someone else have a question? Tips on daily writing goals. Avonda asked, you know what? I would pray on that. I have a goal and I haven't met it yet every day, but I just keep writing. Whatever I can do, I just keep going, and I'm just trusting God. Anyone else want to share their tips on writing goals every day?
We had a speaker for Florida Christian Writers Conference a couple years back. Of course, his name just left me. Dancing on the Head of a Pen. Robert Benson. Thank you. Robert Benson. And he said his goal would be 600 words a day, which honestly, it's like 2 pages.
Yeah.
And Kate DiCamillo, who's won the Newbery twice, so she probably got some good advice. She does 2 pages a day as well. So don't make it like, oh, I've got to do 5,000 words today. I mean, it's great if you can do that, but that's not me, that's for sure. But I can definitely do, 2 if I actually sat down to do it, maybe.
Also, I think it was Robert Benson, not sure. and talking about the 600 words, but I think he's the one that clued me into a blank book. And I just said, totally blank book. I just go to it and I just free write. I just free float. I don't edit. I don't, just whatever thoughts come up. And so he was mentioning that may not end up in your book, but it's gotten a lot of reflections out, and sometimes even uncovering some emotions that you could build into your book. So the blank book has been great for me. And actually, once I start writing, I go beyond 600 words probably. So anyway, for those of you who are concerned about, making it right when you're writing, we all know you should just let it flow.
Absolutely. And again, maybe your goal is to edit at 2 pages or do whatever. So whatever stage you're at, some people are in the editing stages. Set your goals for that. And I don't know, I just kind of like Dory and Nemo, just keep writing, just keep writing, just keep learning, just keep writing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're at 2 minutes. One last question. Anything? Nothing? All right, I'm going to close us out in prayer. You guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you all, like being on here. This is so much fun. And those of you watching this recording, thank you for joining us. I'm just going to close us in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for everyone's heart just to do whatever we can, Lord, whatever you've called us to this season. I pray you bless the fruit of all of our hands. I pray, Lord, whether we're in a season of writing or creating or editing, that you would just do a miracle and use us mightily for your kingdom. So I pray, Lord, until we meet again on May 9th, whether it's live or virtual, you would just bless the fruit of our hands, that this would be the greatest time of Christian literature or just Christian works produced. And I pray, Lord, you would help us as iron sharpens iron. We would sharpen each other and come alongside each other with love and encouragement. I pray all this in Christ Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Woo! Less than a minute. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Fabulous, all of you.
Happy
you,
Easter,
Kim.
everybody.
Easter.
Happy Easter.
Bye, y'all.
Happy Easter.
Bye. Bye.
I forgot I was late, but oh well.
Oh, I am so glad you even joined us. It's recorded. Mary, Mary Alice will just send it to you. Just watch the recording.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right,
good
no
to
problem.
see you, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank you.
Gail. Hey,
Bye, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys. Happy Easter.
Happy
Happy
Easter.
Easter.
Oh, you guys.
Kim, fabulous.
Gail,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much for joining us, for your support. I appreciate
Kim.
you guys being stretched.
God bless you, Kim. Thank you.
Bless you too. Happy Easter.